Good morning, welcome to my video. I have a little organized mess on my desk and I'm going to show you how to organize your craft papers, your cardstock and your pattern papers. So let's just get started. So I have this box full of scrap paper. I would just throw all my scraps in there and it just kept building and building and building until the lid wouldn't even close. It was so full. I'm sorry I don't have a before picture, but I hadn't planned on making this video at the time. But I've seen lots of questions on how to store your papers, so I figured I'd make this video. So this box worked for a while till it started getting too full and I couldn't find anything. So I had to come up with another plan. So move the box. I also had this box that I just keep all my white pieces of scrap paper, my white and my off-white. Because if you are like me, you use tons of white and you have tons of leftover pieces. So this little envelope here is textured white, and then the rest of the box is yellow and white, just pieces. And so whenever I need a small piece to do a die cut or something, I go to this box. And so far, it is working just fine. And I have it sitting on a shelf behind me. Now, all my other paper was a problem. I just had, like I said, in that box, just pieces of everything, and I could not find anything I ever wanted. So I spent a Saturday organizing my papers. The first thing I did is took all the scraps. So like this piece of scrap, I would cut it down and get rid of all the yucky part or the cut out part or whatever. Now, I normally would not have cut this off. I would just thrown the whole thing away because by the time it gets to this point, it is too small of a scrap to save. I know it's hard to throw anything away, but if you save all these tiny little pieces, then you get a big mess and you still can't find anything. So this, I say, is too small and I would just throw it away. Now this one, if we trimmed it down, it's still a pretty good size, and I would save it because that's a good size I can still use, and it's not going to be taking up too much space. All right, if that makes sense. So you just got to decide where you're going to make your limit on how small the piece you want to save. This one, if I trimmed it down, I would throw it away because there again, I would have a too small of a piece. And so I'm not even going to bother trimming it down. Now this one, it's a little bit complicated. First, I think I'll trim it off at this side. And then, if I trim it off over here, I still have a tiny bit of a jagged edge, but it's still a decent sized piece of paper and it's good enough size that I would keep. So, that's the first thing I did. I took all those scraps, decided after I trimmed it down if it'd be worth saving or not. This one is a knot. This one is, it's on the borderline. If I trim that and that, it would be a knot. This is the same as the other one I just trimmed. Trim there and there, and I would save it. That's the first thing you do. Because when you're in a hurry and you're creating your projects, and you pull something out like this, you think, I don't want to mess with that right now. I just want to cut something out and use it. So if your cardstock or your pattern papers look nice and neat, then it saves you time and you use it. Now, the second tip I have for you, I guess, is I took all of my papers. Let's start with the cardstock first. And I put them in envelopes by color. So I have, this is my off-white. And I have texture. I have a little, this is kind of a texture too. It's kind of a pattern, but I would use it more for a plain card or background or whatever rather than a piece of pattern paper. So that's why that's in there. Now, as you can see, all of these have been trimmed down. They're nice and neat. And they're kind of by size a little bit. Not exactly, but close enough so that when I just need a piece of scrap paper, I can go to the color I want and I can grab it out of the envelope. These envelopes I got from Altenew. I will leave a, what do you call it? Anyway, in the description, I will put where you can find it, a link. So I will leave a link in the description box. I can't talk this morning, where you can get these envelopes. And these are really nice. And if you wanted to, you could even close the flap. I have a couple of pieces that are too tall, but I could close the flap. Now, after I've got these organized in envelopes, I have a storage unit behind me that I got from Michaels. I will also put a link for that. And I have drawers, and I have my drawers by color. So I have black and gray, white and off-white, red, red, orange, pink, greens, blues, etc. So those are all in a separate drawer. So I can just go to the drawer I want and get the color I want. Now, I've also done the same thing with the small pieces of pattern paper. So here I have my blacks and grays. And as you can see, these are small pieces. I have trimmed everything down so that they're nice and neat. No jagged edges. And here again, you have to decide how small of a piece you want to go if you're really going to use this small of a piece or not. Now, I've been decorating my craft room with this color. So I've been saving all these small pieces because I might find a use for it. But as soon as I'm through doing that, I would probably throw something like this away because it's really too small for anything. But that is up to you, how small you want to go and how much you want to save. So these envelopes have made it very nice and very organized. And there again, I have my pattern papers in with the cardstock. So I have all the same colors together, cardstock and pattern paper in my drawers. And that works for me. Now, for large cardstock pieces, I did the same thing. I went and trimmed off all the jagged edges, and I put them by color family. Now, sometimes it's kind of hard, like this, and you're saying, what's that doing in the green? That's a good question. I had a hard time deciding where to put it exactly but this is kind of greenish, and that was the main part I wanted to save on it, so that's why it's in the green. Blues, whoops, this one's in the wrong place. It should be in the blue. So I don't know how it got in there, but anyway, blues and greens are kind of mixed together, so sometimes you might get kind of a bluish color in with your green and vice versa. But, you know, if you know where to look, there's another blue, so that needs to go in my blues. But it's up to you how you organize your papers. If you want to put blues and greens together and you don't have that much, that would work just fine. I have mine separated a little bit. As you can see, not so well, but anyway. And then here's my browns. And I have brown, black, white, and gray. Well, not white, but I have all those together because I kind of use them all together. So these are the larger pieces, and also my 12 by 12 size. Now, these envelopes I got from Close to My Heart. They used to send their papers in them. Now they send their papers in plastic envelopes. I didn't grab one. Let me see. I have one right here real quick, I think. Yeah, this one is a plastic one. So they're large paper. If you buy their cardstock in bulk, it comes in an envelope like this. This is a 12 by 12 sized envelope. I don't know where else you can get them. So I think Michaels carries pouches that are kind of something like this, but I'm not positive on that. So you might just look around and see what you can find. But these envelopes work really well for me because they're the right size to hold 12 by 12, and they hold larger sizes of patterned paper. And then instead of putting these in drawers, I have the paper shelves that you can get. So I put them in these envelopes, and then I can store 5 or 6 of these on one shelf, and they're not getting all mixed up because they're in an envelope and they're divided by color. So that is what works for me. Like I said before, using the box, it was just a big mess. I could never find anything. You know, if you only have a few pieces of paper right now, this box would work for you, and you can just shove it under your desk or whatever. But if you have a ton of paper, like obviously I do, then, excuse me, you need to come up with a better system. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. I think that was all I was going to show you today. Well, actually, I have one more thing to show you. So all my die cuts. I like to, when I cut out a die cut, I like to cut out several so that I have some on hand. And the next time I want one, I can just go to my pile here, my stash, and see if I have something that I want to use. Now I've done all these in white, but if you want a different color and say you want some dimension, you can take your white, you can glue 3 or 4 together and then cut out a colored one and glue it on top, and you'll have a dimensional piece, plus it'll be the color that you want. So that works for me. I also have these in little storage drawers, and it's I keep them in these little envelopes. I'm sure you can get these at Michael's. I'm pretty sure that's where I've got some of these from. And that helps so that they don't get all tangled up, and I can go through quickly and find what I want. So that's just another idea for you of how to use your die cuts, prepare ahead of time, and to store them. So thank you for watching today. Please let me know if there's anything else that I can help you with. Leave your comments below. Tell me what you liked about the video or what was not quite clear, and I will try to clear it up for you. Please subscribe and have a good day, and I will talk with you later. Thank you.